What are the secrets in predicting major token surges? One is going to be charting the price action charts. I have been pointing out some of these very common patterns that have played out, just like the probability would suggest. If you chart these correctly, they could play out a lot in your favor. So that is a very simple way of at least start getting an edge on trading this market. Secondly, it's going to be picking maybe one or two indicators aside from charting, right? And getting very good at reading those indicators. My top indicator that I use is the RSI, which is the relative strength index. I've been trading for the past over 5+ years, and it has worked out pretty well for me. Okay, so we're also going to be taking a look into Bitcoin, which is the driver of this market, before going into altcoins today. As always, it's going to be the coins we're going to be talking about later. It's going to be Degen. It's going to be AI16Z. It's going to be Memecoin. The symbol is Meme USDT. See what has happened in these markets. How this Bitcoin dip has affected these markets, and what are their updated price targets and setups. Okay, we're not going to get into the news today because TradingView is not loading the news, but that is fine. We're going to continue to do that tomorrow if it loads. But let's come over here to the weekly time frame for Bitcoin, which is a major point of concern, because on this weekly time frame here, I talked about a breakout here that has happened back in July, okay, where we have broken out of a cup and handle pattern. The price target for that breakout is about 145,000. Okay, it's still valid because the price action right now is still above that breakout point. Very important for Bitcoin to stay above 110K with weekly and monthly candle closes. Okay, if not, this could be a failed breakout and could turn into some type of a rising wedge. You don't want to see that happen, but we do have quite a bit of support levels that's underneath the price action right now for Bitcoin. Now, if you're long on altcoins, you want to be rooting for Bitcoin because if Bitcoin has more room to go, so does this alt season. And do I still think this alt season is still on after the past couple of days of dips? Yes, I very much think this alt season is still on, given we hold this 110K level with what I just said. Okay, now I also had a viewer ask me about the timing of this altcoin cycle. Right, I think he said a lot of people think this altcoin cycle is over. I don't think so. Right, I think we're just getting started. Of course, given that Bitcoin holds 110K. Otherwise, we're gonna have to rechart this and go back to the drawing boards. Okay. Um, and how I think this altcoin cycle is going to play out, because I think that's another part of his question, is that I do think there's going to be two waves based on the last two bull cycles. One back in 2021 and then one back in 2017. As you guys can see, there has been two waves, and I am looking at the RSI here, which gives me very two clear waves here. Okay, the 2021 wave was a huge drop before a recovery back in August 2021. Does it have to play out exactly the same way? No. But I mean, unless something tells me otherwise, I'm still gonna basing my estimates on previous bull cycles. And how I'm gonna be timing this, I'm gonna be looking for a very high RSI reading, just like it has happened back in the last two bull cycles for the first wave. Now, does that also have to 100% happen like the previous two waves, two bull cycles? No. But I'm looking for signs that tell me otherwise, right? So you guys want to be staying subscribed to this channel, because I will tell you guys when I change my opinions, and of course backing it up with some legitimate reasons. Let's go ahead and go to the daily time frame for Bitcoin here. Very important. Rising wedge. I talked about this yesterday. Broke down. Price target would be about 104,000. Okay. Now, that is going to be a pretty steep drop and put this bull cycle in jeopardy, right? Let's see if it goes down there. But like I said, there's quite a bit of moving averages underneath the price action that could be some supports, okay, including the 12-hour 200 SMA, right, which is the orange line, currently at about 111,000. The 110K level is also very important, of course. That was the previous resistance. Next level of support I'll be looking at will be the weekly 21 SMA, currently at about 105,000, which is coming up pretty quickly. So let's see if that catches up to the price action, so Bitcoin doesn't have to dip as hard. All right, so that's basically what I'm looking at. Let's take a look into even a smaller time frame for Bitcoin, where there is a falling wedge pattern. Now, if Bitcoin is able to break out of this falling wedge pattern and meet its price target here, which would be 121,000, that would invalidate this rising wedge breakdown. Okay, so something to be paying attention to, because falling wedges usually break to the upside, but of course they still have a smaller chance of breaking down. And of course, price targets are estimates only. Okay, very much depends on the type of market we're in. If we're in a bull market, which I think we are, there's a higher chance that it meets that price target and potentially some more. And if we're in a bear market, which I don't think we're in, then then there's gonna be a smaller chance it goes to that price target, right? For example, let's also take a look into ES1 exclamation mark, which is the S&P 500 stock market futures. I also want to be pointing out this to you guys, which is a rising wedge as well. Why is this important? Because it has high correlation with Bitcoin. And if this looks like it's going to drop some more, that's going to be bad for Bitcoin. But currently, it is at some support levels, and it's got some more support levels underneath the price action. Right now, it's at the 4-hour 200 SMA, currently at about just right underneath 6,400. Okay, something to be paying attention to, as the markets do look a little uncertain right now. Okay, now I also want to point out Ethereum and Total 3, because I think this is very important. Because Ethereum, I mean, this is why I'm also, I also think that the altcoin season is just getting started, has just been getting started, because Ethereum is barely catching up to Bitcoin. And once Ethereum breaks out of its all-time highs, right, I think the altcoin markets, excluding Ethereum, which is Total 3, is about to follow. So this is why it still looks bullish to me, okay? Unless, this thing gets broken, and of course Bitcoin gets broken, this is my opinion. I am long on Bitcoin. I am long on quite a bit of the altcoins here. So my opinion on this market, of course, still bullish, but that's just my opinions and not financial advice. Let's go ahead and go to Degen, which is one of the altcoins I said we were going to talk about. See what has happened in this market here. All right, so let's go ahead and go to the 3-day time frame, where I pointed out a falling wedge pattern. Like I said, the pattern you guys should at least get to know, right? Start getting to know. It's gonna be very easy. You connect 3 candles with the trend line to validate it on the upper side, and then at least 3 on the bottom. And that's a tightening triangle. It's a falling wedge, okay? And the price target for this breakout here is going to be about 0.55 cents price targets. Now, I did say that there was a possibility that this is going to form some type of a cup and handle pattern. That is still a valid guess, right? Because this could still be some type of a rounded bottom. And rounded bottoms usually turn into cup and handles, which are bullish patterns that usually break to the upside. Now within here, there's also a double bottom pattern, which is still a bullish pattern that usually breaks to the upside. First bottom here is this is the 3-day time frame, July 30th. Second bottom is August 17th. There is bullish divergence as well, potentially playing out. Price target here for this double bottom is going to be about 0.52 cents. Neckline of this double bottom is going to be about 0.42 cents. So let's see if it hits some of these price targets and some more. Let's take a look into the 4-hour time frame. Falling wedge, again, if it breaks out by this point, let's just say, for example, price target would be about 0.42 cents almost. Something to be paying attention to. Now, even though falling wedges usually break to the upside, there is still a downside, a smaller chance it breaks to the downside. I've seen that time and time again. Something you should just pay attention to. And of course, even if it breaks out, it's not 100%. It's going to get to the price target, like I said. So just got to take into consideration of those scenarios. Let's go ahead and go to AI16Z. I have a small bag of this coin, and I am looking to take a short target profit. Okay. 3-day time frame. Broke out of this falling wedge pattern quite some time ago, back in February. Hasn't done too much, but the breakout is still valid in my opinion because the price action is still technically above this downward sloping upward trend line of that falling wedge. Price target would be about $1.70. That's quite a bit away. Okay, let's see if it gets there. Let's take a look into the daily time frame where there is a falling wedge pattern again, broke out of it. Price target would be about 30 cents. And since then, it has formed a double bottom pattern here on this 3-day time frame. Okay, very similar to Degen. And with bullish divergence, price target for this double bottom will be about 20 cents. Neckline, which is the resistance for this double bottom, will be about 15.5 cents. Let's go ahead and move on to meme coin, which is meme USDT. See what's happened in this coin here. Probably on the weekly time frame, you can see a falling wedge pattern, time and time again. Okay, playing out. This time broke out again to the upside. Price target for this one would be about 2.7 cents. Let's see if it gets there. Some resistance along the way. 50 SMA weekly time frame. It's about 0.63 cents. Moving averages are going to be some of your key resistances and supports to be paying attention to because resistance is where traders are likely to take profits and you will see a pullback. Of course, it depends on how many times it has touched that resistance because when it touches a resistance more, it usually gets weaker. Okay. Now, this is basically what I'm seeing for meme coin, meme USDT. Let's take a look into a smaller time frame. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be seeing too much because it just popped, right? If like hypothetically I'm looking for a entry here, I'll probably look for some type of a pullback before entering. Not financial advice. I'm not saying I'm going to enter, but hypothetically, right? Because right now it's in pretty overbought territory in this 4-hour time frame. Could it continue higher? Yes, but I mean it's going to be a higher risk to enter on a higher high as well. I don't usually like entering on higher highs because even if you're on an uptrend, if you get a higher high, you're still bound for a higher low at some point. I like to enter on higher lows. Um, so this is basically what I'm seeing for a lot of these coins. Let me know if you guys want to continue seeing any more of these coins, Degen, Memecoin, AI16Z, by dropping a like, comment, subscribe, or any other coins in this market. I'll pick a request to do for you guys on a daily basis, and I'll see you on the next one.